This is the Upphone that I've been testing for the past month, and while it may look similar to an iPhone, there's one major difference. It claims to have better privacy and security than anything Apple is capable of. I'm skeptical, I'm sure you are too, so let's take a moment to uncover exactly what this Unplugged phone offers, who it's designed for, and the 5 unique security and privacy features this phone offers that I wish my iPhone had. I don't often do phone reviews on this channel because, to be quite honest, there aren't that many options available. And the thing is that most of the options that we do have, they require a bit of technical knowledge to either set up or use. The average iPhone or Android user is probably going to be intimidated by the idea of flashing the OS on their device. So having something that you can just pull out of the box, power on, and start intuitively using and feel comfortable with, I think there's a lot of value in that. I'll start with 2 of the more obvious advantages, at least from a hardware point of view, and that's the battery disconnect switch here on the side and the additional storage via an SD card that's combined here with the SIM card tray. I'll be honest, as I've been testing this phone, I haven't actually used the battery disconnect switch at all, and I suspect that most people who have this phone won't do it often. Thankfully, it's not easy to accidentally flip that switch. You have to be very intentional about it. But I can only see a couple of important use cases here. Let's say you're traveling internationally, or you're working as a high-level executive at a company, and you want to be sure that, 1, you can turn off your phone and not be tracked. Most people don't realize that even when you turn off your iPhone or Android device, it is still trackable. And 2, when you turn off your phone to be part of a confidential conversation or meeting, no malware or virus could remotely enable your microphone or camera. A more useful security feature, in my opinion, is this SD card slot. Most people will see this as an option to add additional storage to their phone. And while that is true, I actually highly value the ability to own my data in a unique and secure way. So instead of taking all this data and storing it in the cloud and trusting the encryption there, or keeping everything that is really valuable and sensitive on my device, the SD slot gives me the option to store photos and files and all that stuff on a removable drive so that if I'm crossing an international border or I'm entering a situation where I know I might have to hand over my phone, I can just remove the card and not have to worry about anything. All right, now as far as the operating system and software goes, there's plenty to talk about here as well. In fact, I talked directly with Aaron Karpin, the CTO of Unplugged, to ask him about their operating system.
It's not proprietary, it's not closed source, it's open source. We built on AOSP, a clean OSP, and we published a lot of the operating system code.
AOSP, which stands for Android Open Source Project, is a bare bones open source operating system maintained by Google, but entirely customizable. What Unplugged does with their LibertyOS, that pretty much every privacy operating system I've seen does, is remove Google mobile services from the OS, which essentially removes any Google account integration. It removes the Google Play Store and the constant communication with Google servers. For those who value privacy, this is obviously a good thing, but as with anything privacy related, there are trade-offs from a convenience standpoint. You'll need to find alternatives to the apps that you commonly use for calendar, maps, and email. You can still download things like Google Maps, Gmail, or even Chrome from their app store, but that kind of defeats the purpose of using a privacy phone in the first place, right? The biggest difference I've seen with the Unplugged phone OS, though, is that instead of feeling like an Android phone, which is what most of the other privacy phones I've tested feel like, the Upphone feels like a better blend of both the iPhone and Android operating systems. You have the app tray, you have home screen widgets, and a lot of the same gestures. My initial thought was that it was specifically designed to help the average user transition easily to a privacy phone, and that's exactly what they confirmed.
The problem, with similar solutions or old attempts, the phones were not very convenient to use. So I actually wanted to bring something that is very familiar to the users.
And before we jump into specific privacy and security features, this is a good time to give you my general impression of this phone. The Upphone is not targeting a user who enjoys flashing their own custom OS or manually hardening every aspect of their phone. If that's you, you probably already know that this phone isn't for you. Instead, this is an option for a general phone user who wants to move away from their reliance on big tech companies with a phone that is private and, most importantly, easy to use out of the box. And that's what this does really well. I'll give you my full list of pros and cons at the end, but right now I want to explore the 5 features of the Upphone that I love that I wish my iPhone had. I like how the UpPhone offers a device-level firewall that gives me a little bit of control and visually shows me what's happening on my device. I mean, most of us don't realize just how much the apps on our phones are constantly connecting to the internet, whether that's to ad platforms or analytics platforms, and all of these are third-party providers that are tracking us, not just the app itself. One of the things that the UpPhone makers point to is this test that they had done by cybersecurity firm Raxis that shows the differences in tracking activity between iPhone, Samsung, and the Unplugged devices. The iPhone generated over 3,000 DNS requests, the Samsung over 1,300, and the Unplugged phone had 0 thanks to this device-level firewall. I never really had a lot of confidence in that whole request an app not to track system, but that is just ridiculous. So here, I can open up the Privacy Center and see exactly how many trackers are being blocked and which apps are the worst offenders. You also have control over what kinds of things the firewall blocks, but honestly, I have no clue why you wouldn't want to block all of them all the time. There's nothing comparable to this on an iPhone or Android, and I really wish there was. The emergency reset feature is really interesting to me. Another one of those features that's extremely valuable, but only in very select situations. Hopefully you'd never have to use this. It's a special device unlock code that is different than the one that you normally use to unlock your phone, that when you put in that special unlock code, it will do a complete factory reset of the device. Imagine with me for a moment a hopefully very unlikely scenario where a thief or somebody you don't trust is forcing you to give them your phone to do something you don't want them to do. You can use this emergency code to unlock the phone or give them that code if they ask for it, and it will immediately erase all your data and reset the phone as if you just pulled it out of the box for the first time. Now, I always caution people who want to enable a feature like this to make sure you have a backup of your phone before you turn this on. But if you're dealing with really sensitive information, or you're traveling to volatile countries or very sensitive areas, this might be another handy feature that you might like. The schedule reboot is one of the most underrated features of the UpPhone that I really wish were available on mass market phones right now. The reality is that most of us never turn off our devices. We're just constantly in a state of recharging them. And when it comes to malware and spyware, it takes time for the malicious code to dig into our devices and relies on those devices constantly being powered on.
What we know is these Trojans, normally do not survive reboots.
You can select exactly what day and exactly what time you want the phone to reboot. Usually I'll do it every weekday while I'm asleep. And it will turn off and turn itself back on. You won't even notice anything. I mean, my iPhone will automatically update overnight, but I can't do a scheduled reboot, which I wish were possible. While it's not quite the same as having hardware switch like this battery disconnect, on a software level, the UpPhone does give me the ability to turn off the camera, microphone, USB data, and NFC on a device-wide level. With an iPhone or a Samsung device, for example, you have app-level controls where you can decide which apps have permission to use your mic or camera or those kind of settings. But with the UpPhone, it is a system-level control. I can make sure that the camera or the microphone are off for the entire phone, any app that I use, or no matter what you plug into the phone. There will be no data that comes across that connection. This is just additional privacy and security control that you won't get with the average phone, and I like making sure that when I'm going to bed at night, the camera and the microphone are off and are not accidentally or even purposefully invading my private space. The last feature I'll highlight is the integrated Antivirus, VPN, and Secure Mail client. The Antivirus gives you the option to do either a quick scan of your downloads folder and all the apps that you have, or a full scan of all the files on your device looking for trackers and malware, while the VPN adds an extra layer of encryption when you're connected to the internet and it hides your IP address. This is good if you're on a public network, if you're traveling, or if you just want to obfuscate your location. I also think it's worth noting here that a lot of these services like the VPN and encrypted cloud storage are part of their security suite that they give you for a year as part of the purchase of the phone, but then it renews as a monthly subscription after that. So if you want to continue to use their services, you'll have to pay for it, or if you already have a VPN or a cloud storage provider, you can just download and use those apps. Okay, so at the end of the day, here are my thoughts on the Unplugged phone. Right now, my family is using it as our home phone and travel phone. We don't have any social media apps on it and nothing else that can be used for personal identification. We've really just got texting, Signal, Waze for maps, stuff like that, but that's about it. It's been reliable, super easy for even my young kids to use, and I love that it's not collecting a ton of data on them. That being said, there are some downsides worth mentioning. For example, the chipset in this phone isn't bad, and it runs fast for normal usage, but it wouldn't be ideal for hardcore mobile gaming if that's what you like to do. I also wouldn't recommend this if you use your phone for high-end photography. I mean, the cameras here are good. They have a 3-camera set with a regular telephoto wide angle, but they don't compete with the iPhone or Samsung in terms of quality. And then there's price. We live in a world where the newest iPhone is going to cost you an average of $1,300 to $1,500 nowadays, which is just crazy. You can certainly get phones for a lot cheaper, a couple $100s, but the Up phone runs $839, which is kind of in that middle range, but still expensive, especially considering phones with comparable specs. But as an open source device, the Up phone delivers additional privacy and security features out of the box, and the interface feels so familiar that I could hand this to my mom and she would easily be able to start using it. And really, I think that's the key. If you're a privacy-conscious parent, somebody working in a surveillance-heavy environment, or simply someone who wants strong protection without having to have technical expertise, the Up phone presents a great alternative to big tech options. It's not for everybody, and it really just fits a specific niche, but I suspect that these kinds of open source, trustless, privacy-oriented alternatives like the Up phone are just going to keep getting better over time. At least that's my hope. If you enjoyed this review or have any questions, you can let me know in the comments, and then watch this video next that YouTube thinks you'll want to see.